Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations in English with non-native speakers like myself, Jendrek.
And myself, Masha. I sound
And we
like
are,
AI.
yeah, it's not yet AI, guys.
Still
And
us.
yeah, and Masha, we are, of course, two English teachers who do they actually do this week?
Just live.
Oh, just
Trying
live,
to survive. Who
barely,
is
yeah.
always whining about the future, uncertainty and God knows
I
what.
don't know if this is your feeling. I'm addressing our listeners now,
Ah, okay. I thought
but
you were addressing me, and I was
but
like, this has been my feeling for like what,
no,
almost two
Masha,
years now.
it's funny, we live in well, far away from each other, and you live in Ukraine, which is by all means a special place right now. And I live in France, that is supposedly, well, far
Paradise.
away. Paradise, yes, paradise. But this feeling of impending doom, this feeling of the end is somehow looming. I don't know. I don't know where does it come from. It probably comes from in between the lines, of the news portals, and Twitter, of course, or sorry, X.
But you said
And
it's
I
not
have,
only media, you said that your life has changed also in terms of different measures were introduced, yeah?
yeah, I mean, yeah, you talk about the atmosphere of terror or threat of terror. I don't know. It's not yet terror. There was a terror attack in France, a horrible attack once again, and a teacher was a victim again. But
It's becoming a very unsafe country for teachers.
yeah, I mean, you know, but the point is that it's not maybe that attack. It's not even the measures that were implemented right after, and there is some higher security alert, something like that. So, but there's a feeling that now with sorry, it gets political, but now with Hamas versus Israel, conflict, I have a feeling like this is going to spill all over the continent, in a bad manner, because it's highly political, and the hatred that I see, hatred covered in peaceful, in calls for peace. That's what I see. It's like, let's stop killing. Stop this killing. But at the same time, if you don't stop, we'll show you our revenge.
Let's
So it's
stop
like,
killing, they were saying while looting another. Or what was it today? I saw in Turkey. I think they were. What was it? McDonald's, I think.
all right.
I saw the video where they were
You mean
trying to
that a
break the
demonstration?
window. Oh, it's not a demonstration anymore if you are,
Mhm.
destroying property.
Yeah, but yeah.
But I'm sure they
Anyway,
were calling for
it's
peace.
yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, so we are two English teachers who are trying to survive all this, and also trying to be kind of, a voice of reason in the ocean
Not
of
me.
all right.
I gave up.
All right. No, it's fine. I think I was thinking about the value of the podcast itself, and
Mhm.
and this
How is it
conversation,
the voice
but
of reason?
it's it's maybe, it's a voice of, maybe not of reason as such, but it's a voice of ordinary people, and I guess it's not like a propaganda or something. It's just, I think it has certain value. And thinking of this podcast, and having like ordinary people, ordinary conversations, there is nothing more it could seem useless as listening to, some ordinary people blabbing, but yeah, but at the same time, it's actually quite interesting, to be in the room with us and, just listening to the conversation, ordinary conversation. So that's, that's what's so special about this podcast. I asked, there is, you may not know, that there is, again, what are their names? Language assistants, this AI basically, But some people say these are not AIs; they are just linguistic assistant or language assistants that are not exactly AI. But I don't know the difference.
Who are they then?
Yeah, exactly. What is it if not? No, but this is only the people, experts. I mean, pundits who know what AI truly is, say that this chats, GPTs, and others, they are not really AI. They are just linguistic assistant. So, but definitions aside, I don't know what is the true AI. I think I read the same opinion in that book Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleiman. It's a great book, by the way. But he also mentioned that AI it's not that just we think that AI is that talking chatbot or something. No, it's not. It's AI is something maybe else. But anyway, there is a language assistant called Pi. It's PI, it's like the number in mathematics. And oh my goodness, I lost the track of my thought. What were we talking about?
Language assistant.
No. But I want to say that. Oh, yeah, okay, great.
Oh,
I
our
get it.
podcast is totally devoid.
No, yeah, exactly, our podcast. Our podcast. And I asked because there is a section. It's actually an app, and it's an application you can download. This Pi, and you can chat with it. And there is something like podcast recommendations or something like that. That Pi serves as, as an advisor.
Okay.
And so I asked, of course, with a certain thesis on my mind, that I want to listen to a podcast where, for language learners, where there are non-native speakers, and of course with a slight hope of being recommended. But of course, Pi had. I don't know, of course. If Pi's database is similar to ChatGPT, which has moved now to September 21. Have we been around in September 21?
In December, I think.
December 21. Yeah. Okay, great. So we are not there yet. Okay, fine, at least. But Pi is basically, Pi basically recommends BBC and that kind of, stuff. So it's very, very mainstream and very obvious sort of, places. So I know that is, of course, it's a good starting point. But I think our podcast,
do you think
is like a niche.
Can you imagine an English learner who would Google something like that? A podcast in English with non-native speakers. I think it's the last thing anybody learning a language would want.
Yeah, you're right. You'd sooner
Everybody
type
wants
maybe
native speakers.
Yeah. But I don't know. This is shifting. This is shifting, and rightly so, because people realize that native like proficiency is no longer, not only. I think it's still desired, but it's no longer a model. I think because people go out to the world and they see that, okay, my Hungarian friends or colleagues, from Spain and so on, they speak totally different language than the BBC, right? So that's what it is, Okay, so we wait for the next update of the ChatGPT's database, and once it covers at least December 21, we expect it to be recommending us. All right, fine. TOL podcast is our website, still the same, and it's working, and it's been based on a new server, so everything is working, and it's safe, and it's doesn't flash these warnings about safety, virus threat, whatever. It's basically safe now and easy to access. What's on the website, Masha? What's the most interesting part of it?
The most interesting part is where you can listen to us, because that's what we want people to do.
Yes. No? And the second most interesting part is
your picture.
Oh, come on! I don't even think there's any photo of me.
Oh.
By the way, yeah. Once it sounds like a silly phrase now, but once the war is over,
Which one? I would,
yeah, which venture. One exactly? Once the wars are over, and the peace is restored to the world,
yes, Mr. John Lennon.
We should definitely meet and have a photo session, for our website, for both studiomentals.com and TOL podcast. Why not?
To make it the most interesting part of the website.
Yes, of course. Well, at least we are on YouTube now, so people have a vague idea of how we look like.
Don't remind me. But when you look at this, there's always a frozen picture, when you are choosing something, or when you are, and it chooses the thumbnail, I don't know, it somehow will probably, yes. How is it generated?
I know it's
usually
AI doing
worst. It's the worst possible.
No, Masha, you don't know the process, but if you upload a YouTube video, then you have a choice of 3 thumbnails.
So you make this choice. Or who?
I make the choice. I mean, the computer or whatever, the system generates 3 thumbnails, and I need to choose one of them. And it's not like, it's very often a choice between 3 bad ones.
I trust you choose the best. Yeah.
You can trust me, it's the best.
Okay.
I know, but I don't think it really matters. When can you actually see this frozen picture? I mean, when you link it, right? When you link
when I go to my YouTube, I usually get like a list of recommendations, and surprisingly, our podcast is usually there.
Yeah, all right. And there is I see, and this is where you see the thumbnail.
Never in my life am I going to watch this.
There is a way to upload your thumbnails, but it basically what it takes is you need to take a screenshot when you like it, when our faces are the most presentable.
If they ever are.
If they ever are, yes. And then you just upload this thumbnail. All right.
Of course, I'm not freaking out about it too much. It's just funny.
All right, great. Masha, I'm wondering, if we could have some serious conversation, today on some serious subjects.
Because we don't have any guests.
Yeah, because we don't have any guests. I posted today in the morning, a link to your Zoom where we recorded, but somehow nobody is here. Maybe next time.
Nobody likes us,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay,
what's
but
wrong? It's a pretty serious beginning of a serious conversation.
Oh yeah, what's wrong with you guys? All right. I wonder if we can do the good old thinking out loud between you and me, to kick some concepts around and down the road. Let's do it.
With
all right.
Jingle?
So I wish I could. Could you let me play it?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's gonna take eternity before the app
Okay.
starts. So now wait. We've got time, you know. And so let's establish who's asking whom first. All right, perfect. Would you like to ask me a question or should I ask you a question? What do you think?
Oh, I have a very serious question. Like, so
Oh, come on.
serious. I
Oh,
don't
come on.
know. Do you feel like it?
I feel up to it.
Round one.
Okay. What is the difference between, I'm sure it's so threadbare, but in the new light, between justice and revenge? Because, you know, there is a saying, you should have, you know, winked or something.
All right.
Okay. You know, there is a phrase, I don't know exactly how it goes, something like revenge is a dish that is served cold or something like that. Are you familiar with this saying?
I'm not familiar, but I'm thinking, what would that
Maybe it's,
mean? A dish that's served cold? You mean like it's too late?
it takes time to plot
yeah.
and, you know, all this.
I see.
Something
No,
like
I
that.
mean, why would revenge actually take time? I mean, unless you talk about terrorist attacks. But I guess it
No,
takes some
well,
planning,
maybe
right?
it's a
It's not like
personal revenge. I don't know. But there is a saying, maybe it's only in our language. Maybe it's not.
No, I mean it
But
makes a lot
then,
of sense that
but then on the other hand, I listened to the radio the other day, and oh, we have so many war military experts these days in our country, and one of them was saying that, you know, discussing, of course, you know, what Israel is going to is planning to do, and he said the opposite.
sorry,
That, you know,
is actually the Israel Hamas conflict taking over your airtime? I mean,
some of it.
in Ukraine, it's amazing, you know, because it has, I think, totally dominated the Western media right now. I mean, I can't remember any news from Ukraine.
Yeah.
In the recent, you know, days, and somehow, you know, it's also entering your wavelengths. All right, sorry, but
both actually in a serious and in humorous ways. I saw today there are lots of, well, you need to understand these cultural references, but people are making jokes of how could they fight without, how could they, you know, have this war without, and people have to finish the sentence, and we of course reminisce what was at the beginning of the war, but you need to be really, you need to understand these things. But I mean that it's a humorous way of not making fun of, you know, what's going on there, but, you know, making parallels. And
sorry, what is the sentence? I mean, that needs to be finished.
Something like, how can they fight this war without? And we have so many memes. Like we had, for example, a dog, and we still have it. The dog has a name, and they came up, of course, with an Israeli name for this dog. The dog, this dog helped looking for mines, I guess. Then
All right.
Then we had a ghost of Kiev, and we thought that it was
Yeah.
one pilot, you know, who, and many things, which only we understand right now. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not only, you know, the serious stuff. But that's, I guess, what is different maybe about this war, that we managed to maintain, to preserve, you know, our sense of humor throughout. I mean, from the
It's
very
the
beginning.
last thing that should die, right? And once it dies,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a serious thing, you know.
Okay, but
never
let's
mind.
come back to let's come back to
there is this
revenge.
thing, but then another thing I heard is that justice is supposed to be done with, you know, cold in cold mind or something like this.
Justice, I mean, if you talk about courts that pronounce the verdicts, this is totally cold, right?
Yeah, but it's cold because the judge, the person who gives this ruling, must not be involved in any, in
Yeah,
any
yeah.
way.
Should be
That is what provides this
yeah,
impartiality. I don't know.
yeah, impartial, exactly. I want to say, because there is another pair of objective and impartial, but I guess impartial. Yeah.
But
Like totally.
Can you yourself, if you were, let's say, a victim, or maybe not directly a victim of the crime, can you deliver justice? Do you think it's even possible?
It's a very strange concept, if you think about it, because it has been definitely in the modern times outsourced to courts, right? They decide about the justice, right? And this is where the justice is to be made, in the courts. But the feeling of justice is another thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's and I don't know if it's something that if it's something that can actually be achieved like fully, because if someone claims, I don't know, the life of your son or your daughter, where's the justice? I mean, it's only claiming his life in return, right? Would that actually?
It used to be like this, eye for
it used to
eye.
be that, but then it's not that simple. We had a case in Poland of some kind of a horrible crime where an old guy of 77 stabbed a kid, a 5-year-old kid, from a kindergarten. I know it's horrible. I mean, this sounds horrible, and it was horrible, and so on. But then how do you deliver justice here? I mean, by killing the 77-year-old? I mean, what, how many years does this person has in front of him? 10, maybe, if I mean, not so many, right? And then hanging that person, or basically sentencing that person to death, if that was even on the table, doesn't restore justice, right? Because you took a life of a young child that had the whole life in front of him or her. I don't know that was a boy or a girl, but then again, it's impossible to have just. I mean, yeah.
So revenge is a much simpler, let's say, concept.
I mean, revenge. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Carrying out a revenge is pretty simple, at least, but then again, revenge doesn't mean. I don't know if revenge actually brings justice, right? It's not always. In that case, it would. I don't know.
That's a question.
It wouldn't. I think it would, because the satisfaction from revenge, and there is something like that, definitely. Doesn't equal the satisfaction from justice, I guess.
Why?
Because it's you can
but
revenge.
Sometimes they're one and the same,
Sometimes, yes, sometimes they overlap, but very often they don't, I think, because I don't know, actually, the feeling of justice. I'm lucky to have, I don't know, to feel like, okay, there is justice, at least in my life. I'm not a person who is who's holding a grudge against, I don't know, the government or I don't know, other institutions, that my life is miserable
even
because
the tax
of you.
collectors.
Yeah, I mean, I pay the tax, go to hell, I mean, yeah, I mean, I know that there are people who at my place, who'd protest, who'd organize, who'd, seek, well, justice, right? Yeah, would seek justice. I'm not a person like that. And so I can say that my life has some sort of, I mean, I feel like, okay, my life is to some large extent just, I don't feel cheated. And if someone is reaching into my pocket, I simply consider it as, well, the price of being in the society, being part of the society. But of course, when it's too much, it's too much. But then again, it's yeah, somehow, you accept it. I accept it. And so I cannot say that I feel a lack of justice in a way, but but I'm not involved in any court cases. I don't have any conflicts with the law or with other
Have you ever?
individuals. No.
Oh.
I was close to having a court case. I don't know how close was it, but I never did. It was
And you never had
when
to seek revenge?
I don't think so. Look how peaceful I am. Look,
yeah.
and it looks like this boring life. No, I can't remember. I can't remember the any time or any situation where I would have to honestly revenge. Apart from, I don't know. Well, I don't know. It was a long time ago. No, I don't think so. And definitely not any type of revenge. I understand more like in sports. That you have a rematch, or if you lose, I know a game, you want to rematch. But that's all. I don't feel like.
No, in sports it's actually very different. You just want another chance to prove yourself.
Yeah, to prove yourself, to beat your opponent, because you feel that it's unjust that your opponent won, right? And you feel like I have what it takes to win. And yeah, but
no, not necessarily you feel that it was unjust. Sometimes you understand that yes, the credit must be given to yes, you lost, but it was just one game, and there's always a little bit of luck in sports, and you just feel that you deserve another chance. Not necessarily that it was an unjust game or match.
But sometimes if you lose by 1 point, I mean, it feels like it was so close. You want instantly to play again, right?
Like I said, sometimes it's not skill, sometimes it's luck, especially if it's 1 point.
Yeah,
it's out
yeah, of course. But still, be it luck or skills, it feels unjust because it's only 1 point. It could be the other way around. Could be you
when
on
it's
top.
skill and it doesn't feel unjust.
Yeah, but when it's skill and you lose by 1 point, let's say, then why not? Then maybe with the help of luck. Yeah, but it's I'm thinking right now out loud about justice, and there's also this saying that justice will somehow be done in due time. Even if the court's decision is something you don't agree with, even if that then justice will be restored maybe after centuries, I know, or so on. This is actually something that is happening a little bit, I think, to the Western Europe right now, who used to colonize different continents and different nations, enslaved them. And now it's somehow the tide is turning, Europe is, of course, it's like broad macro perspective, but it's kind of dying out because of the demographics, right? And somehow the peoples even, from the countries that used to be European colonies are, demographically strong, and they are coming over to Europe, and
they're taking it over.
Yeah. I don't know if they're, of course, I don't know if they're seeking revenge for what you did to our grandfathers. I don't think this is it goes that deep, It's probably mostly migrating for
better life.
Yeah, exactly, searching for a better life, But still, if you think about how clever that is from the historical perspective, that perhaps that certain, I presume, and I believe it's true, atrocities that have been done, are now maybe going to be reversed. It's interesting, especially what's really interesting for me, and it's also a very delicate matter, is the question of Germany, a country that Russia, the same, of course. Russia is always kind of forgotten, in this a huge tragedy, which was the Second World War. Russia was on the winning side, so it was like, but they also committed lots of crimes. But Germany, especially, with Holocaust on their shoulders, it's amazing, and I wonder about the justice, because how do you repay that? I mean, it's impossible, right? No matter the cash you pay, the gold you ship to all the victims, that or families of the victims, or countries, and so on, it's impossible to repair. And I wonder if certain justice will reinstate. Is that the verb? Or
will be restored.
Restored, exactly. Certain justice will be restored historically, by, I believe, punishing the German nation, right? Somehow.
But I think they've already built, I mean, what is happening to their identity as a nation, first of all. And secondly, now I hear that you will, I don't know, you can see, what does it even mean, a true German? There is no such thing right now, because...
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard. Yeah, what does it mean, true Polish, or true whatever, French?
But what the people say is that you will see this, what is it in Russian? Истинный ариец.
What is it?
True, what is it? Aryan? What is
Yeah,
the word?
Aryan. Yeah.
Somewhere only in closer to Austria or somewhere, but in Eastern Germany, you see a lot of people with darker skin, let's say.
Yeah. People of color. I don't think we are being indecent now. People of color. I think it's what you say, right? People of different nationalities, different origins, and so on, from all over the
and
world.
One interesting thing, for example, I have a student. She's Ukrainian, but she lives in Germany, and she says that she talked about one city. I don't remember the name. It's quite big. It's not like a small town, and they say that a lot of restaurants in the city center are owned by I don't know, Turks, maybe, let's say Turks.
Yeah, probably.
And they don't sell alcohol in these restaurants. So this is another way how you can actually change the culture by simply, bringing your culture, and because there are so many of you, you just take over the other culture very slowly, subtly, but still.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you said, about the somehow dissolving of the German soul or the German identity. First identity, maybe not the soul. The soul may remain somewhere there, but it's quite interesting.
Don't you see the same thing in France?
It's hard to say. I mean, for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, I would say that France is more welcoming, or how should I put this? The French identity somehow is more ready to absorb other influences, I guess. Not sure why I'm thinking like that. I think I was thought that Germany used to be a more should I put this, a more hermetic country than France. historically even, but I'm not sure. I may be talking bullshit now, because I feel like, France has had, this kind of, foreign element for centuries, right?
But by absorbing, you mean that their culture can be easily dissolved like that?
French culture, I mean?
And identity?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. French culture is quite strong just because of this openness. I'm not sure about the German culture, but there was a saying, in the past that everybody has two homelands. One is your own, and the other one is France.
Oh, come on,
So it's
really?
like, because it's so welcoming, I guess. It is. It's not a hostile minded culture that I heard that, but once again, this is an appeal for our listeners from Germany. Maybe you could come. Maybe you could also shed a light on what's happening, especially if you live in a small town, somewhere in a small town in Germany. All right, end of disclaimer. But what I want to say is that, and I've heard that from many people, that living in Germany, you never feel like you are part of the society. I mean, as a foreigner, you are constantly reminded here and there that this is not your country, So, it's like, of course, it doesn't mean that people may be nice and so on, but you can never integrate with natives, I mean, German natives, to the extent that you can do it in France, where you can truly feel like part of the society. And but then again, I don't have any experience of living in Germany, so I can't tell you for sure.
Well, but then it means, I've been thinking that maybe that's the mistake they made with their refugee policy, that they didn't actually force these people to integrate, to naturalize, and now they are reaping what they saw.
But you mean
But
that
maybe
they didn't teach them the language, or what?
Well, I really want to use the word force, because you can force people who come and depend on you, to, let's say, integrate, learn the language. I mean, even I would go as far as that to say, wear our clothes, honor our traditions. That's what we want
But
from you.
it's not,
But maybe what they did is that they didn't want them, like you say, because they are, let's say, hostile,
because at heart,
culture.
at heart,
Maybe they didn't want them to.
Very hard to say, because I think that the integration of foreigners generally, especially if they are coming from a foreign culture, because Europeans, I guess, having Europeans in your society, I mean, we sort of think the same way, we are sort of the same people.
Can you
I know,
imagine Italians in Germany?
of course, there are mental differences, but somehow we have certain values, and not to mention language, that comes from the common mother, and somehow I think it works better. But with foreigners from different cultures or civilizations even, I think it's hard. And it's not only Germany's failure, it's Sweden's failure, England's failure. Everywhere there are ghettos, or they're not formally ghettos, but there are basically districts that where
police
people of
wouldn't go.
I mean, the no-go zones, but that is a further problem. But first, it's basically people of the same culture stick together, and they don't mix. It's quite natural, and this is what happens, to people, right? And so the
And do you
Turks,
think it's
or
because there were so many of them at one point, because they didn't come in, dribs and drabs, but they came en masse. That's why it was difficult to make them integrate, or they simply never wanted to?
I don't know.
But what did they think? These people will exist in their own, bubble, in their.
I think the political idea is that they will integrate. These are the assumptions, I think, of the leaders. That these people will integrate. They will get a job in a factory. They will go to work. They will meet their colleagues from be it Germany, or any country, and then they will start. And I don't know. France is showing that it's kind of this is a wishful thinking, right? Because there are second or third generations of immigrants who are not integrated, which is like a total failure. They speak the language. They have they are French citizens. Literally they're French citizens, but yet they don't feel part of France. So it's kind of shows how naive was that thinking. But whether it's a systemic problem because France didn't create, I don't know, certain opportunities for these people, or whether it's just something that runs deeper, I don't know. But we are drifting away, Masha, from our justice.
So what is happening right now in Europe? Is it justice with all these protests?
I think if you look, I don't know, but if you look historically, there might be some justice hitting back on Europe. I don't know, but of course it's it's once again very broad point of view. If you look at this, and if you look centuries back and so on. But on the daily basis, what's happening? It's like everybody wants a better to have a better life. No matter what that means. So there are certain groups of interests, and they fight for their rights. And like I said, I'm not part of this these movements, because I'm always like, just maybe this is the Central
You're a big fan
Eastern
of
European.
John Lennon. Yeah.
No, I'm not, but but yeah, I don't know. It is foreign to me to for example to go on strike or to join a movement.
Do you can you? I can't imagine you going on strike.
No, but okay, but there are
letters to all of your students and say, "I'm on strike from Monday."
I mean, my job, but that there are certain unions of teachers, who fight for example, the government could, at one point, decide that okay, we need protection somehow. Whether, for example, imagine you fall sick, and what happens? Well, you lose your income, right? More or less. Yeah. But maybe this could be legally, but maybe this could be arranged in a different way, that you get some sort of state help, and so on. Actually, it's possible in France right now, in my case, but I never applied for anything. I'm never sick, All right. But that is. But I don't think the drive. What's happening if you consider the unrest, social unrest, and so on that has been plaguing Europe for some time now, and COVID was just a little pause. But I don't think what's driving this is the need of justice. However, maybe it is, but I would rather say it's more like. We see that there is something we can win, so let's try and do it, I guess. So it's rather greed than justice that is driving people, but maybe wrong. Everybody sees that probably in a different light. All right, but thanks.
It was a serious talk, but
it was a serious talk.
Arrive at any clever conclusion.
You think I never? All right. Fine. Anyway, thanks a lot for listening to our show. Thanks for being with us. If you have some thoughts about justice and whether what's happening in Europe is actually, motivated by this drive toward justice or not.
Or if you have
You
any
can drop
other
us a line.
thoughts
Yeah.
on this matter or
Right.
any other matter, you can always be on our show.
Great. Our idea behind all that is that, I guess, Masha, people of people with various level of linguistic competence can absolutely contribute to any type of serious discussion, because we are adult people after all, right?
Yeah, at least we believe so.
Yeah, we believe so. Fine. Thanks a lot for being with us. I almost pronounced your sacred phrase, Masha. So sorry. It's over to Masha now.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And this was another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Stay tuned for the next one, hopefully with guests. Bye.
Bye-bye.